Because the ladies who are joining me this morning, two in studio and one via Skype, are telling me the story of love in Juve. We're talking living for local, and this one being after Mass. I'm now joined by, well, I'm going to say my friends now because we bonded a little bit. Carly Coot to my right, and Janine Mendes-Franco, sorry, to my left. And via Skype, we are also joined by Miss Karen Martinez.
Hi.
These three ladies are very much an integral part of the narrative of Aftermath. So ladies, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Morning. Welcome.
Now, I know that we would have almost interrupted your day a bit there, Karen, because you are in an entirely different time zone, right? So we will...
Yeah, not too bad. It's 10:30.
Okay. So you had breakfast, you relaxed a little bit, and you're rejoining us. You had coffee, right? Good. I wish I could say the same, but you have given us a short that tells a love story in Juve. Tell me about that happenstance. Let's say, was it 2013? So 7 years ago.
Yeah. So 2013. So you want to know the story, or you want to know how it became a film?
Well, in your case, how it became a film would be best.
Well, I mean, basically, it was in those it was Trinidad and Tobago Film Company, which is now Film TT,
right,
were had some production funding, and they were looking for short films. And I had just written this short film for something else, and so I submitted that, and it got selected. And that was in 2012. So in 2013, I came down to Trinidad because I'm based in London.
Right.
And Janine was producing, and then we did castings and whatever else, and came up with an amazing cast and shot during Juve of 2013. And then that was because we needed to shoot that scene during Juve. And then about 3 weeks later, we shot the rest of the drama. And then I edited it and showed it at the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival that September. And it won the award for Best Local Short. Mm-hmm. And it's had a very kind of exciting life since then. And but yeah, it was a challenging but really, really rewarding shoot, working during Juve, which I'm sure the others will tell you about as well.
Of course. I love how you say it very nonchalantly. Like, we just entered the film festival and we just run a couple of awards. But the fact that you would have actually done actual shooting during Juve, as you said, would have been challenging. Did that, of course, set us different tone for this story? Did that change things in terms of perhaps having the initial plan of doing something staged versus an authentic experience?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so you're talking to me or to the others? Because I can't actually see. But
absolutely to you. Because the ladies are in studio with me, so I'll chat up with them in a bit.
Okay. So the initial idea was because everybody had said filming during Juve is too difficult to even try it. So the idea had been that we would film after and do a kind of reconstruction, and get 100 or so people, shoot it quite tight so you couldn't see that it wasn't massive and whatever. And then I thought, actually, once I was down there and the vibe of Carnival was everywhere in the atmosphere, you thought, nah, I'm not waiting until after to do this. I need to shoot during Juve. So we found a band, but it was quite a small band. And then I suddenly thought, again, this was like coming up to the Sunday before Carnival. It was like now the Thursday, Friday. And we found a much bigger band. And I thought, oh, God, it's going to be harder to film in the really massive band. Yeah. But it would be just so much more atmospheric and real and add something to it. So I asked, Janine and I got together with Carly and Kafra Rudder, who is the other lead, and said, look, do you all mind? It's going to be madness, but we will be in a really big band, and it will look much better, it will feel much better, but it's going to be more difficult. And they were like, yeah, let's go for it, man.
Up to the challenge.
So they were up for the challenge. So that was actually the really good thing that came out of it, that all of them and the extras who were playing the Red Devils and the Blue Devils and whatever were all actually keen to be part of the kind of massive experience. It presented, as Janine will tell you, a lot of really sort of difficult challenges for us in terms of turning over during that short period of the darkness that we wanted, and in terms of we couldn't hear each other and whatever else. But in the end, it looked amazing. And the shots that we got, I don't think we couldn't have got the same vibe if we had just did a reconstruction. We did do a little reconstruction after to get a couple of close-ups that we hadn't been able to get on the night, but that was just some little pickup shots after. But yeah, it was amazing.
I can imagine. And of course, that means that all the hard work paid off after that award was received. So that experience must have been in itself, of course, gratifying. But could you describe exactly what you were feeling in that moment when the news broke that you won?
Yeah, it was, because it was the first time I ever won an award. And I was sitting there, and it felt like it was a story that was so much part of Trinidad, and it was a story that had come out very much of me and my understanding of the society, and I had wanted to talk about race and class and all those sorts of things that are ever present in Trinidad, but I wanted to do it through a love story and through a story that gripped people or moved them, and that was very visual, as well as anything else. It was told a lot with visuals and slightly less with dialogue. And so I kind of felt that those stylistic risks and that idea of what I wanted to do had paid off, and it just felt great that it was a Trinidadian film, Trinidad and Tobago film, that had won the award, and the people liked it.
The people definitely liked it, so much so that we will, of course, be showing that again here in Trinidad and Tobago. But I'm going to join the ladies in studio now to get their accounts of the experience, because, as we said, we are joined by Janine and Carly, who were in the melee, making sure that it actually came to life. So, Janine, you could probably tell us more about those challenges in terms of actually shooting during an actual J'ouvert.
Yeah, as Karen said, it's not anything that anybody advises you to do. But I'm really glad we took on the challenge, because it made all the difference. I think that, there were real sort of logistical problems. We couldn't hear each other. The headsets were rendered useless. Wow. We had to be, sort of waving to each other to give the signals for action and cut. We had to maneuver around and among masqueraders who were just there having their time. But you couldn't beat that vibe. It was impossible to recreate it, and like Karen said, we did recreate it, and she only used the close-ups that we needed.
Nice.
So,
now, Carly, in the case of this role as the lead female, you were saying this was probably one of your first lead roles, and such a challenge. Talk about baptism by fire.
Well, I mean, for me, I would say I was blessed in the sense that I didn't face the challenges that they had. Once I didn't get lost and I stayed on cue, I was playing J'ouvert. So I just stayed in character and played J'ouvert. So for me, I can't say that I had to put up with the turmoil that they did.
Touche. But you were tasked with, as we were hearing from Karen, that the challenge of relaying the information without a lot of dialogue would have largely fallen on the actors. So in this case, relaying the differences or the separation between economic disparities, that unfamiliarity, because you all met in J'ouvert. There's no actual long dialogue or conversation to get to know each other. So that entire process of relaying that, did you find that at all difficult or challenging as your first role?
I thought about it a lot leading up to it, and I was a little concerned about it for the same reasons that you said. But once I was in it, Kaffer was such a good partner to work with. It came naturally. So I wouldn't want to say it was scary at first, but not so much challenging, because I had such good person to bounce off of.
The thing is, they had a rapport, and you could have seen that from the casting sessions. They had an immediate chemistry. There was a kind of a friendliness and a vibe between them, and we realized, this was going to work. And under pressure, it absolutely came to light.
It's very easygoing, so.
Diamonds were made under pressure. That's what happened.
Exactly.
Now, I have to ask, in terms of actually seeing it 7 years later, because you basically had to revisit the short. Was there perhaps perspective through a new lens, as you were saying, Carly?
Yeah, well, I was saying that earlier. When we shot the film, I, of course, understood it, but it didn't really hit a nerve. And going back and watching it, I want to say yesterday, I really understood it. Growing up, it's been 7 years, the world really teaches you things, you see more things. And I better understood the message that Karen was trying to portray. And I thought it was really interesting to touch on such a, I want to say, difficult topic that can be so, there's so much you could say about it, and it could be a very touchy subject.
Absolutely. And on that note then, Janine, if there's one thing that you hope viewers come away with when they view this at 8 tonight here on TTT, what would that be?
I mean, I hope they see themselves. I hope they see a lot of what is unsaid about Trinidad and Tobago society. And what is evident in the film is a lot of juxtaposition. So there's these sort of false divides that separate us, and then there's the symbolic unity of Juve that actually unites us. And the choice is theirs.
Beautiful ladies. Thank you very much to Karen Martinez, who joined us via Skype, to Janine Mendes-Franco, and to Carly Coots, all of whom you can see tonight at 8 p.m. right here on TTT as we continue to live for local. After